We'll be spending a lot of time on Dak Prescott on the entirety of today's show. What do you think is the percent chance that Dallas gets a deal done with Dak Prescott before week 1? Sound off in the comments of today's show. Here's the latest on Dak Prescott. They are, as we all know, running out of time to get a deal done by week 1. And depending on which reporter you listen to, the Cowboys are either not closer or they actually are getting closer to finalizing a deal. Ian Rapoport says the Cowboys, Dak, are not closer. We'll get to his comments here in a second. Clarence Hill says, well, actually they are getting closer. First off, here's what Ian said. This was kind of more Wednesday afternoon. My understanding right now is the two sides are not close. The clock is ticking. Of course he's going to practice. He's going to play the season. There's no questions there. But if a deal doesn't get done by Saturday, you have to wonder, is a deal going to get done at all? The stakes are as high as it gets for the Dallas Cowboys. Clarence Hill, meanwhile, reporting this. There is an effort to get something done before Sunday's season opener against the Cleveland Browns. And per a source with direct knowledge of the negotiations, progress has been made during talks with Prescott and the Cowboys, and a deal is closer than it has been. What's also true, per the source, is the length of a deal is not a sticking point in negotiations, as has been reported. They are on the same page in terms of length. But the fact remains a deal has not yet been agreed upon. Of the two reports, I do think Clarence Hill is right. That length is the sticking point never made any sense. It's not a Cowboys do, because they love longer deals. I think there was maybe some more doubt and question marks about the guaranteed money, which I still think might be your main issue there. Somebody is obviously wrong on that, but years being the sticking point seemed highly unlikely. I think commitment was the main sticking point there. And we'll see if they get a deal done. I do think they're closer than what they were previously. Doesn't mean a deal gets done with the way the Cowboys have done business with Dak, not just this year or last year, but for almost the entirety of his career. So prediction time. It is the pinned comment, by the way, on today's video. Will Dallas get a deal done with Dak Prescott before week 1? Y for yes, N for no in the comment section of today's show. I think it is more likely to get done than what it was just a few days ago. And I feel it better, or maybe worse, but how you feel about it, better that it does end up getting done. But I have my doubts here. I think there has been progress between the two sides. Why you couldn't have had the progress months ago, that's what you're going to do? Whatever. That race done been run. I do think there are some interesting elements to glean from what Jerry Jones had to say on his interview with Stephen A. Smith. Jerry said this: it is very important that we find a way to reconcile this with Dak. We've got to ask ourselves, can we have the kind of success that Dak deserves, we deserve, his teammates deserve, our fans deserve? Can we do that and get in the range to afford Dak? I think we can. When you look at what he brings to the table, as opposed to the alternative is not 1 year. It's a several-year alternative. So when you look at the prospects of him knocking on that Super Bowl door the next 5 years, I like those odds. And that, to me, is where you go, you pull the trigger on it. That is a change in tone from the last time we heard Jerry Jones speak about, he's like, there's no risk involved. We're not any urgency. That comes off as a little bit more urgency involved there. And a lot of people kind of latched on to the 5-year element. I do think that is noteworthy. I think people misinterpreted it. 5 years doesn't refer to the overall extension. I think it would be more likely to refer to the total contract. It'd be this year and a 4-year extension. That is how you get to that 5-year mark. Now, whether we like it or not, Jerry probably is right about the alternative, because they have already made mistakes that have put them where they are currently at. They had a chance to have a better alternative in 2025 had they done some different things. That is not the path they chose to go down. We'll go more in depth on this here in a moment. But first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All-in pricing. Toggle that feature. You can show your total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. The game time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. The Cowboys have set themselves up in the position they are in, not just this year, but 4 or 5 years ago, and they're not in a good spot. And this is the bed that they made when it comes to paying Dak Prescott. Because if they want to win games over the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, there aren't any realistically better viable alternatives outside of we got incredibly lucky again and like highly unlikely outcomes. The odds, as Jerry said, very much in the favor there. They don't have what's happening this year. I think we all know what's going to happen, right? They're going to win 10 games, give or take. They'll maybe win one playoff game, pick on the 24s. They can either have a quarterback under contract or not, and have no real way of actually getting one beyond sacrificing a tremendous amount of their already on the roster talent or their future talent of trading draft picks away. Now, Dallas could have changed this. They could have ripped the Band-Aid off in March if they wanted to. They could have said, Dak, we love you. We want to win games. We are going to choose to rebuild, or even in February, frankly. And we're going to reset. We're going to bottom out this year, get our 2025 top 5 pick. And frankly, I'd have been fine with that choice. It was a plan. All I've asked for this entire offseason. Still don't have one from the Dallas Cowboys. But by not making a decision either way, which will come back to the other side of this too, which is why no matter what happens, the Cowboys didn't handle this right. In March, they have put themselves in a not very good spot. This is not a happy place to be if you are the Dallas Cowboys, because either you pay a bunch of money for a quarterback, which is how most teams do it, but he's got you bent over a barrel again, or you got the giant mystery box, and it's probably not going to be a boat. Probably going to be comedy tickets, which, hey, it's great for game time, but hoping for a boat, you kind of end up being disappointed. So what is the most that you would be comfortable paying Dak Prescott per year? Try not to always make it last year's money, but what is the most you'd pay Dak per year? Let me know in the comments right now. Whatever you want to pay Dak right now, whatever you end up, if you do get a deal done, paying Dak Prescott is cheaper than what it could be in 2025. That's why you constantly see these crazy figures of chaos in 2025 of 60, 65, 70. If they don't get it done, we're like 4 months away from 80. That's how it's going to work because it's media. Frankly, him signing at all is fairly team-friendly because he could just wait 4 months and get an actual mystery box of massive contract figures. I also want to put this in perspective. Back when Dak signed his 2021 extension for $40 million a year, at the time, that was roughly 22% of the salary cap. Now, you do it properly, you backload it, you worry about it later, you always push the big money off when you're being aggressive. That's how smart teams do it. So let's look then at what it is relative to the salary cap right now. You give him the same contract, it's like a 7% pay decrease. It's 15.67. You give him that same 22% contract, you're hovering in that $56 million per year range. The mythical 60 number, that's 23.5. So that's really not, that's 1.5% of a pay raise. The money is so much more, 40 to whatever, because the salary cap is more. Did you guys know that Justin Jefferson massive extension was actually the same contract percentage that Calvin Johnson was back when he signed all those years ago with the Detroit Lions? The sticker shock is totally real. But we're not actually talking about that much of a potential pay raise here, assuming you do it now. All bets off come March. But no matter what, the Cowboys made a mistake here. They did not handle the contract properly. Stephen Jones once said, he's also been very quiet. I haven't heard much from Stephen, very quiet lately. Seems noteworthy. Stephen Jones once said the Cowboys' biggest mistake was not paying Dak Prescott earlier. They made the exact same mistake again. I'll come back to that here in a second. But we are 853 subs away from 194,000 subscribers here on the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Depending on how it is structured, a Dak Prescott deal almost assuredly will free up salary cap space this year. And next year too, probably. And just like the CeeDee Lamb contract, you could have used that money to make your team better. If you were actually all in, you could have freed up, depending on how aggressive you wanted to be, $30 million in salary cap space just by paying those two guys. You missed the boat for that. Paying or not paying Dak, I don't think has any real impact on your 2024 outcomes. I don't. They missed that window. They failed to maximize this season. But it does impact 2025's outlook drastically. Think about it this way. If you're an NFL head coach, because do we think that we're going to see great success from the Cowboys? They built, I think, the third or fourth best team in the NFC. I think that's about as far as they go, depending on who they draw, because they might not even win the division. If you're Ben Johnson, the Lions' coveted offensive coordinator, do you want to go to a team that has Dak Prescott and the 24th overall pick, Dak under contract for 4 years, giving you job security, or do you want to go to Dallas where there's no quarterback in place and a team that hasn't seen really, really bad seasons in a long time? That job with Dak is very actually intriguing. It's actually a good core in Dallas. Without Dak, it's a little bit dicey. Either way, you have to change your approach next offseason. Regardless of what you do, you can't just run it back again. That's not going to work. We know it's not going to work, or at least we highly, highly think it's not going to work. So we will keep our eyes on that, but I have significant doubts that things will play out that way. So we'll see what happens, but you need to make a decision. Otherwise, other teams will make it for you.